life and strength in our life. We'll continue with Tomer Devorah. This is the fourth class. This is part 1 of 12. As thou hast sworn to our fathers in the days of old. There are many unworthy men, but the Holy One, blessed be, has mercy on all of them. It has been explained in the Talmud, I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, as it says in Shemos, in Exodus. This treasury is reserved for the unworthy. There is a treasury of grace from which the Holy One, blessed be, graciously dispenses free gifts to them. For he says, their fathers had merit, and I have sworn to them that even when their children will be unworthy, they will be shown grace because of the merits of their fathers to whom I have sworn. Therefore I will lead and guide them until they will mend. So should every man act. If he meets wicked men, he should not treat them cruelly or blaspheme them. He ought rather to have pity on them, saying, Are they not, after all, the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? And if they are not worthy, their ancestors were worthy men. And whosoever abuses the sons in doing so abuses the fathers. I do not wish that the fathers should suffer abuse at my hands. Thus should he hide their shame and repair their blemishes insofar as it is his power to do so. So we see from this teaching that even if a person you see is unworthy of your kindness, you're doing an injustice to their parents and their forefathers, and weren't they righteous? Why should they have to suffer above seeing their grandchild or their great grandchild suffer, because they did something wrong? So even for the sake of the ancestors, you should be gracious to your fellow. And so just like Hashem is gracious to us, sometimes we were saying in the Shemona Esrei, we were saying, Hashem, remember Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Constantly telling Hashem, remember the others, remember our forefathers, have mercy on us because of our forefathers. Remember their great deeds. So just like we're asking Hashem to do that, we have to remember our friends, our foes, everyone's forefathers, and think that even though this person may not have merit, even his parents had merit. So for their sake, let them not suffer above watching me take revenge or watching me judge harshly this person, even though they could be slightly wicked. Unbelievable. I'm thinking now, out of all the books I've read, this is one of the greatest books that's really teaching a person how to have Avos Yisrael. And we're learning Avos Yisrael from the Sfiros and from the Midos of Hashem. Unbelievable. Number 13. Shalom Ruvain, Eli, and others. In the days of old, this is a quality which the Holy One, blessed be He, deals with Israel. When the merit due them by virtue of their ancestors, and all their qualities are of no avail for them. What can He do with them? On their own merits, they're worthless. Their claim upon ancestral merit are spent. But it is written, I remember for thee the affection of thy youth, the love of thy bridal days. It says in Jeremiah. The Holy One, blessed, remembers the love which once existed between Him and Israel. And for its sake has mercy upon them. He remembers all the good deeds which they have done from the day of their birth. He remembers all the good qualities wherewith He rules the world. And from all these He constructs a treasure from which proceeds mercy for them. This quality comprehends all the other qualities, as explained in the Midrash. In the like manner, so should man conduct himself with his fellow. Should he be unable to deal with him by any of the aforementioned qualities, he should say that there certainly was a time when he had not sinned, and in that hour, in those days, he was worthy. Let him remember the good deeds that these men have done in their childhood. Let him remember the love for them when they weaned from the milk drawn from their mother. In this way, it is impossible to find a man who is unworthy of being dealt in kindness, or for those whose welfare he ought to not pray, or upon whom he ought not have mercy. Wow. You see this? You can always, we're learning from here, you can always find merit in someone, because even when they're at their youth, when they didn't even know any better, they're crying in the crib. Were they not worthy then of kindness? So is Hashem dealing with us with such mercy, where He's reaching back and saying, oh, my child, my creation, you're doing so many wrong things, but you know what, I remember that simple mitzvah you did, back, in the year 2000, or back when you were little, you're 5 years old, you went and you gave that candy bar to your friend in school. And Hashem is looking for our merits like this, and so should we look for the merits in others. These are the 13 qualities of divine mercy in which a man should strive to resemble his Creator. Just as man conducts himself below, so he merits that the divine qualities above should be open for him. Okay, just like we do things down here, so we're going to open that influence above. The influence which is sent down from above upon him is exactly of that quality wherewith he conducts himself, and thereby man causes the divine qualities to shine in the world. Hence, these 13 qualities must never be removed from the mind's eye, nor should these verses ever be forgotten from man's mouth. Let them always act as reminders to him, so that when he is called upon to perform an act which calls for the exercise of any of these qualities, he may recall them and say, why this thing depend on that certain quality? I will not depart from it, in order that this quality should not depart and remove itself from this world. And that ends this chapter. So this is why it's really great that the Nusach Tzfat and the Sfardim are always making sure to say, trying to say the Kerach Mechanu and Erech Apayim of Chesed Emes. They're saying the 13 attributes of mercy in the prayers, because we need to remember this. This remembering and saying these qualities of Hashem will remind us how we have to act. We have to act and emulate Hashem, and the more merciful we are down here, the more mercy we're going to receive from above. So, my friends, break your, I don't know what it is, break your anger, break your pride, break your gashmias, and treat your fellow like he's a king, and help people, and be kind, and be gracious, because you're going to get it all back from heaven, and it's going to change you. It's going to make your life so open and so beautiful when you can give to others, when you can look favorably upon others. Chapter 2, in order that man may resemble his Creator in the mystery of Keter, crown, he must be possessed of the following traits, which are major in divine providence. First, the most all-embracing is the quality of humility, which depends from Keter. For it stands above all qualities, and yet does not elevate itself or hold itself proud, but indeed descends and looks downwards at all times. There are two reasons for this behavior. The quality of Keter is ashamed to look upwards at its cause, though its emulator always looks down towards it in order to bring it benefit. But it, Keter, the sphere of Keter, always looks downwards. Thus man should always be ashamed to look upwards and be haughty, but should look down and minimize his own importance as much as possible. Now we're learning about the midos that we have to have and how we have to emulate the ideas of the sphere. So we're going directly into what is the way the sphere acts and manifests itself, and how we have to have that quality. So we start with Keter, the highest sphere, and we're going to go down in, we're going to go down through each of the spheres and learn from them. Now this quality generally depends upon the head, for no man becomes proud except by lifting his head. Furthermore, there is none so patient and humble as our Hashem in the quality of Keter, which is the utmost degree of mercy. For no imperfection or sin or harsh judgment of the lower worlds or any other cause prevents it from supervising and sending down its influence, or constantly granting benefits to those below it. Men should emulate this behavior. No cause in the world should prevent him from doing good to others, nor should the sin or the improper actions of any man stand in his way and prevent him from doing good to those who stand in need of his benevolence at all times. Just as Hashem provides for the needs of all beings, great and small, from the horned wild ox to the eggs of vermin, and holds nothing beneath his notice. For were he to deprive them of his attention, they could not exist for even a moment. So that he takes care of all things and spreads his mercy over all things. So should man extend his mercy to all creatures and consider nothing as unworthy in his sight. Even the very least important of the creatures should seem highly important in his eyes, and he should pay its utmost attention, render service to all who stand in need of his offices. In a general way, this quality depends from Keter, and is designated by the mystery of the head. Oh, my friends, so great is this. We have to learn to have mercy upon the creatures, upon the world, and be merciful. You see someone with a flat tire, pull over. When I was young, I remember I was a teenager, I'd pass people, and a flat tire, I was a bit on the shyer side at times, and it went back and forth in my life, between shy and outgoing. And I remember passing, and then it would start to bother me so much. What kind of person am I? I passed this guy with a flat tire. It bothered me so much. And you have to work on these things. You have to be merciful. You have to feel the pain of others, and try to be there in any way possible. You don't realize how a simple gesture of kindness, can make a person's day, and you can change a person's world. You don't know the pain that people are in. Whatever you're in pain. Imagine what your friend is in pain. You at least have Hashem, and you're close to God. Imagine someone who feels distant, the pain in their life. The second part of this explanation, man's thoughts should resemble the thoughts of the Keter, just as that wisdom never causes to think good thoughts, and evil never enters into it at all, for it is totally mercy, unmixed with any harsh judgment, so that must man's mind ever be free from any ugly thought. Even as the thoughts of Keter are forever occupied with the mysteries of wisdom, Torah, and holiness, now one of the mysteries is missing, so must man turn to nothing but thoughts of Torah, thinking of the greatness of Hashem, his beneficent activity, how to do good and similar things. No foreign or vain things should be allowed to intercept these thoughts. This was the advice of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his associates. When Rav Yossi turned his thoughts away ever so little, how mightily did Rav Shimon reprove him. So we've got to take care of our minds and our thoughts. Just like we're saying here that Keter is something that doesn't have really the other side. It's completely pure, Chachma, completely pure. And we don't start to get that other side until we get into the midos of Chesed, Devorah, where you're starting to have these sides, and you're starting to have these midos. But the thoughts of man are so important to emulate like the spirits on high, where we can't allow evil things to go inside our mind. We have to occupy and fill our mind with Torah 100% and good thoughts, positive thoughts all the time, and faith. And it's going to do wonders for us. We have to guard our mind. It's the greatest treasure is our mind. The greatest thing is chachma and wisdom, and to guard this wisdom, to put the correct wisdom in our mind. Don't underestimate when you're taking in secular wisdom how much it affects you. Rabbi Nachman says that when you go and take secular wisdom, it puts space in your mind, and it therefore takes space that could otherwise be put with Torah. So the mind can only handle so much space, but Torah it's like unlimited. But when you fill it with the secularism and the secular knowledge, it takes no space, and everything you need in life. And there's a rabbi, Rabbi Heinerman, the story when he was a bachur, he took a car, and he unscrewed every part of the car, and then he put it inside, I think it was the yeshiva, as a joke, and he reassembled it inside the yeshiva. And there was the car. He put everything back. The car worked. And then they said, take it out. He unassembled everything and he put it back outside. Okay? He didn't know how to go and fix the car. He wasn't a repairman. He didn't go to school for this. But everything is in the Torah. Through the Gemara, a person has a yishuv das, understanding of the world, unlike anything else that you're going to learn in college. You're going to learn in parents they're telling their children, go to college. Torah Jews, which really don't belong in that environment, unless they're going to be a doctor or a very specialty, and don't belong in such a secular environment, which is so much tuma and impurities, and they're pushing, this is what you need. But the education a person gets from Torah is malay, it's full, and it's beautiful, and it can give a person tremendous knowledge of how to deal even in the work world and in life, and they'll understand how to live. This is our mind. It must first be filled with Torah first, and then we can go and we can add the little bits around that we need. Third, the man's forehead should never be hardened, but should ever resemble the forehead of will. He should always appease everyone. Even when he encounters angry men, he should endeavor to appease and pacify them with his goodwill. The forehead of will is forever pacifying the mighty powers, repairing them. So must man ever pacify the mighty who strengthen their anger and lead them with goodwill. Man must use great wisdom to quiet that anger, that it may not go out of bounds and cause irreparable damage. Let him take as a model the supernal will which flows from the wonderful wisdom of the forehead of the Ancient One, and from there pacify all things. One should cultivate the habit of acting mildly towards all creatures. For if his character is harsh on any side, men will refuse to pacify by him. This is the meaning of the Mishnah: whosoever pleases the spirits of men pleases the spirit of Hashem. So we see here that you should pacify people. You're going to meet angry people in your life. They're angry at you for no reason. And, if they're judging you without a reason, you know what? You don't have to go and try to live up to other people's expectations. You don't do something like that. But at the same time, if you see someone judging you for something, you could fix that in a half a second or a minute, just explaining yourself. It's probably a good idea to do that. Don't put yourself out there for people to judge you, for them to get angry. Try to appease the angry people slightly. At the same time, we stay away from, just like the Shekhinah stays away from anger, we have to stay away from anger. But if you can make some slight appeasement, it's good and it's beneficial, it's saying. Try to quiet those who are angry. Don't magnify a situation. There's a story in the Talmud between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, where a student Beis Shammai started up with Beis Hillel, and Beis Hillel just said, silence, calm. He said to Beis Shammai, why did he do that? Why didn't he argue? Why didn't he defend himself to the next level? Because in a situation, you always make a defense, but you don't magnify a situation. At all possible, you want to decrease the anger, you want to decrease the tension. Tension is not good. It comes back and it haunts you. Sometimes you have to give up something just to have some peace of mind and not be inside something of, with people with anger and with problems. So we have to go and we try to repress anger as much as possible and act kindly towards others, and to try to not get in fights and arguments, and try to always seek shalom and peace. And whoever pleases the spirits of men, he's also pleasing Hashem above. Rabbi Nachman says, if people insult you, try to be silent. Try to be silent. Try not to magnify things. Try to live a peaceful life with all people. And when you're nice and you're always peaceful, people are going to want to be around you. They're going to look at you as peaceful people, and they're going to appreciate you. And you're going to find things to return to you in great blessing. Thank you so much for coming. Your comments are important to me. And please share and continue to learn Torah in your life, because it's your strength, it's your vitality, it's why you're here.